So, today our topic is how to create a nurture sequence that really builds fans for you, your business, and your brand. Last week we talked about how to create an effective lead magnet that converts. Lead magnet is, however, just part of the system. It has to be brilliant to make people think like, oh my God, I want to get more from this person and this business. And our email funnel, this nurture email sequence, is exactly what's supposed to build a bridge between the free offer and the paid offer. So, why do you need a nurture sequence? Every subscriber is really hard to get. Organically, through content, through website, SEO, is really hard unless you you have content that goes viral, you have smart automations, bringing people from Instagram into your email sequence is very difficult. So we need to make sure that we take advantage of every single subscriber that we get and that we have multiple opportunities for them to do that. And those that do eventually subscribe are the most engaged within the 48 hours. You know, they're warm, they got a lot of value from your freebie. They're like, wow, this person blew my mind. So we need to capitalize on that and turn it into profit. If you set up a great nurture sequence, it will also create a great first impression. You will appear thoughtful, you will appear professional, and you will appear like everything is in the right place and you know what you're doing. So you're not just like giving away free value and never coming back to those people. You have everything in place. And also builds the stage for long-term trust, you know. They see you, they hear from you, they get a lot of value, so they start liking you, trusting you, and eventually they will also trust you enough to buy. And welcome emails and the whole funnel that's like right in the beginning in this 48 hours has huge, just really unprecedented open rates. Normally, the benchmark for newsletters is under 39%. 39 is really like already really good. But welcome emails, so the ones that deliver the freebie, have between 50 and 86% open rates. So we need to leverage this engagement of our audience. And also, when we do this automatic delivery and then we do have this nurture sequence, it improves inbox placements, meaning that email providers like Google, like Outlook, they recognize us, email senders, as somebody trustworthy, so they can directly put our emails in the inbox instead of the fancy promotion box, those tabs on Google, for example, and definitely not in spam. This is the worst thing for us, is once one of your emails ends up in spam, basically you lost the subscriber, because the email provider won't even let the subscriber see your email. It will already go directly there. And generally, if you do have a smart and well-built nurture sequence, you will see higher conversions because you have built that like trust, no like trust factor. Statistically, businesses see 47% bigger purchases if they implement it, even a short nurture sequence. And they also see 33% lower cost per lead. That is after you already got their email. So after you got the marketing lead, so to say, the sales lead is then cheaper. So what is a nurture sequence in our whole funnel? So last week we discussed that we create our freebie. We position this freebie, the subscribe opportunity for the audience on the landing page. And then we promote that freebie on our channels, like with organic content on Meta or LinkedIn, in our newsletter, although that doesn't make much sense since we already have the emails from those people. But we can do it with ads. We can do it on our website so that Google and SEO of your website brings in the potential leads. And so they land on the landing page, they give you their email addresses, they toggle that, yes, I agree to receive emails from you, and then they end up in our nurture sequence. So how does this nurture sequence look like? We have an absolute must, email 0, which is the freebie delivery. This is where what you absolutely have to do. And then the consequent email funnel will look different depending on your strategy, goal, brand, your audience, or the framework that you choose. And so today we're going to discuss this part, what exactly we can write and include here, so we see all these benefits that we've discussed in the previous slide. To give you an idea of what happens after, because nurture sequence is really about trust and connection building and not really about sales. It's building the foundation for the sale, but it's not selling just yet. It's okay to hint to your offer in the nurture sequence, but you're not going to do any hard sells or promotions at that point. So what's going to happen after your nurture sequence, you will strategically place a few triggers that, for example, if the person clicked this link and read this article, they might be interested in offer A. So I will send them to this upsell funnel where I'm trying to sell this offer. And if in my nurture sequence, the person clicked this link because they wanted to already book a discovery call with me, but didn't just quite do that yet, I can send them to sequence with the upsell of the offer B. And then, for example, if they didn't do anything, I'm not gonna like unsubscribe them or delete them. I'm just gonna put them into my newsletter. So over the time, they get a bit more from me, more value, they get to know me better. Maybe over the time, they will say yes, and they will do that action that you want them to do. I just want to check that the recording is working. Okay. So what should a good nurture sequence do, apart from what I already said? Of course, it has to deliver. First and foremost, you need to deliver on your promise. So you need to send that freebie. And you need to welcome the subscribers and thank them. Also, you need to address their needs and pain points so they feel like you understand them and that they can relate. Then you should, this is like what a good nurture sequence should do. You should set expectations for what's coming next, yeah? So that there are nobody offended or feeling harassed. So you can say how often you will email them, what content you will include, because this transparency really will lead to no unpleasant surprises and no sudden unsubscribe. So you will tell them directly. I don't know, I think I told you about the story about this one coach who's probably doing the same as me, but in Dominican Republic, Central America, Northern America. And I subscribed to his newsletter, and he basically like put you on a dare saying that like if you are like this, if you want your business to succeed, if you want to learn everything there is to learn from me, you're gonna read every email, because if you're not gonna read any email, you can like go home and unsubscribe. He directly said you can unsubscribe, and that he will email like every day. And he literally emailed every day, and he emailed sometimes even twice a day, but he provided a lot of value. Like I have written down certain systems that I didn't know back then. And his emails were like, at some point, like after a week or so, they became like a mixture of value and sell, which is totally fine. But I really was reading his emails for at least 21 days, just because he said in his emails, If you want this, if you are like this, you're gonna do this. Otherwise, unsubscribe. And I was like, well, I want that, so I'm gonna read, free knowledge. Why not? A good nurture sequence should offer genuine value and a lot of it. And also, you should incorporate your personality. We are not a corporate brand. We are all personal brands, coaches, consultants, freelancers, service providers. People will work with us a lot because of who we are and what we are like, rather than what we can do for them, because otherwise they would go to like any faceless agency that just like delivers on the service but not doesn't offer any personal connection. So include personality. These two things, value and personality, will create the know like trust factor. And if you're not familiar with this, know like trust factor basically develops from the common marketing funnel, where on top we have awareness and people get to know us. In the middle, they have the consideration phase, where they think, should they take the next step? And this is like where we should make them like us. And then there is also the trust factor, where we create their like where we awake their interest to buy from us. And this is where we need to make sure that they trust us so that they can actually buy, because without the trust nobody will buy. And then this nurture sequence should also prepare for the sale, but it cannot sell directly. There should not be any hard sell, because people don't know like trust you, and most likely they're just going to turn them off. So you should rather educate and warm them up. And by the time that you are ready to make the offer, they are also receptive to that offer. And common mistakes are, they actually come often from the misconception about what newsletters are and what emails are. Many people think that emails, newsletters is just to sell, sell, sell. Like we think newsletter from a brand, they're trying to sell us some offers. But the thing is that for you as a person who creates a lot of content on social media, you can use newsletters as another source of providing value. So people actually anticipate to receive something from you, just like they anticipate to see a post or a reel from you on Instagram. So we often, I think, especially in Austria, in America, actually, this whole funnel thing is way more common. So people do voluntarily subscribe to newsletters, but I must say I have at least 5 newsletter subscribers just from my website, and I don't know how they ended up there. Maybe somehow through my Instagram or something. But people actually do subscribe to newsletters. So it's like there is already this mindset shift from newsletters being only transactional and only for selling, to the mindset that newsletters also provide value. So to avoid one of the most common mistakes, provide value, teach people, educate, think about it as your content on social media, entertain, create emotions, make people feel something, help them relate to you, and to show them that you can relate to them. So this all these things is value. Yeah, value is not only knowledge. So don't repeat this common mistake. Just 1 second, I need to close the door. Manuel is making a lot of noise. I think he's unpacking. The door is closed. He's just making that much noise. Okay. And then another common mistake is selling too fast before people are receptive and are warm enough, and before you have established the know like trust factor. So don't sell in your nurture sequence. So how is this whole magical thing set up? I think this is like the biggest confusion. People cannot even visualize how this works. And I know it's tricky, because like unless you deal directly with these digital marketing things, you don't know. So these are pictures from my nurture sequence. So this is how this whole email like automation looks like. You have on top a trigger. The trigger is usually that somebody fills out that form on your website that promises the freebie and they click submit. So here it says contact submits form business checklist lead generator. This is from my funnel. And as soon as somebody click the send, they end up in this automation. So they will go through every step in this automation. Yeah. So the first step in this automation is email 0. Deliver the freebie and welcome the subscriber. Set expectations and tell them what's coming their way. Yeah. Then you wait 1 day and you send the first nurture email. Then you wait 1 more day and then the second nurture email. Then you wait 1 more day and then the third nurture email. And from there you can do the conditional flow where you say, okay, does contact match these conditions? For example, clicked this link or has this tag because they did something. If yes, send them here. If not, check for other conditions, for example, and then separate. If they didn't do anything in the last 7 days, for example, if they didn't show any interest, just send them to the newsletter. If they did do something, so maybe they could be leads, but they need to just a bit more warming up and qualification, so you can send them to another automation. So this is how this conditional checking works. And this is how the automation, the automated email funnel looks like. So why do we have 1 day here? Because if you remember in the beginning, I mentioned that our leads are the hottest in the first 48 hours. So we must use this window to send their way as much value as we can, to introduce ourselves so that later on they do what we want from them. And that's why it's every day. Yes, and I would definitely recommend to send the first 3 emails, excluding the email 0, so that's like 4 emails with 1 day difference. And if you then have a longer nurture sequence, then you can expand it to, for example, 2 days in between. And if you're doing a mini course, then definitely just 1 day difference, because you already tell them it will be daily for the next 5 to 7 days, for example. So how your nurture sequence should look like. There is no one size fits all solution. There are different frameworks, and I'm going to introduce you to 2 frameworks today. And then if you do an email course, it will be different depending on like how many days you want to include in that email course. But this what is Loom video course. I've seen some people do like an email course, but they take it to the next level by not just giving the text, but also integrating a video there in the emails, so that people don't just read, but also have an opportunity to watch you speak. Because on the videos, obviously, it's easier to get to see the personality, get to know the person a bit better, and kind of already make the first impression if this is somebody you would potentially work with or not. So this would be like the next level of email course that you could do. And you can also develop your own sequence based on something you've tested and what you found works best for you and your audience. Because every sequence will really depend on your audience and your brand. The way you set it up will depend on what kind of brand that you, what kind of personality you have, what kind of voice you have, what does your audience want. These are all nuances you have to think about at the strategy level. But there are tested and proven frameworks that do work for most, which I still recommend you to test. but this is the AIM framework from Alex Catoni. She is a very um, renowned copywriter, and she has a copywriting school and a lot of programs that teach copywriting, and not only to copywriters but also to business owners. So if you want to like create more better content. And then there is a what, why, how now framework for welcome sequence from data-driven marketing. I work now with these guys because they're total experts in funnels, and I hired them to optimize my funnels because I really wanted to work, automate it on the next level. So like I know that it works and that it's perfect. So they are really great. John has a podcast. He only talks about funnels and automated sales funnels with all kinds of different businesses, coaches, corporate brands. So he's like a real expert. That's why I usually use one of these frameworks when I set up the funnels for myself. What I want to mention is that I would recommend for a lead magnet, especially if you're selling something more expensive, a longer sequence, so the what, why, now, how framework. But if you have a newsletter sign up, which usually all of us do, we have separately a newsletter sign up and we have a lead magnet that's doing the lead generation a bit more actively. So still, even for newsletter, I would recommend the AIM framework. That's just 3 emails, but they do magic in terms of how people perceive you. So it's not that they just end up in your mailbox. Maybe you send them one welcome email, which if you don't, you should do. I mean, when people sign up to a newsletter, I don't talk about the lead magnet right now. So you should still send a welcome email when they sign up to the newsletter. And best if you really include the AIM framework, 3 emails, and then just leave them in the list for the newsletter that you send out weekly, for example. That will it will create a way better connection with the audience than just they signed up and didn't receive anything, or they signed up and received one email and then need to wait for the next newsletter. So let's go through the AIM framework from Alex Catoni. This is a 3-step welcome email framework. AIM stands for acknowledge, include, and mobilize. And each email basically has a goal. And the goal is to either acknowledge the person, to include them, so some sort of engage, and to mobilize to take the next action, which leads obviously to our offer. And the goal is to turn a cold subscriber into a warm lead. And it's short and sweet. So if you're just starting out, you can opt for this one. It's 3 emails and in 3 days. You can quickly onboard your subscribers. You won't overwhelm them, and also you will not make any mistakes, because it's short and sweet. And then you can build up on this. So I would definitely recommend starting with this one, whether it's for newsletter or whether it's for your lead magnet. And while you're building the next stuff, like the next level of the funnel, people who subscribe still get a lot of information and value and just like get to know you better. So what do we do in the first email? First email is the acknowledge email. This is, of course, where we deliver the lead magnet. We welcome them. We thank them for downloading, maybe create some excitement, hype. I'm so happy you downloaded. And very important to make them feel confident that they made the right choice. You need to kind of upsell your freebie a bit, why it works, create some authority, maybe give some examples, maybe say, I use this as a framework for the over 100 clients that I worked, or it's been downloaded by over 500 entrepreneurs, something like this. Like you need to make them feel like, yeah, okay, this is cool. This is exactly what I wanted. Yeah. It's also good to make them aware of the problem because they might not even have it. They might have grabbed the freebie, but they might not know like what really their problem is that you might solve with your offer. So if they are not aware of the problem, then your offer will really just like go by them, and they will not understand, like they will not get interested in it. So you need to create this bridge here and to make sure that they are aware that they have a problem. And of course, part of the problem should be solved by the freebie, but part, and the biggest part, should be solved by your offer. And you need to make sure you acknowledge that problem. Yeah, and then you need to make them feel inspired and encouraged that there are ways to solve this, and promise a solution to do that. And like I said, set expectations for upcoming emails. And what will do wonders for your all future emails is if you ignite engagement in your first email. If you make people respond to your email, reply, the email providers will make sure every single email lands in your inbox, not in the promotion, not in the spam. So if you manage to somehow really move the people to reply, to engage, it will set you up for success for all of your future emails. Then email number 2, include. Yeah, this is where you make them feel like they belong to your world or their community. This is where you, for example, introduce yourself, and you introduce your values, you introduce your struggles, so they can relate, they can identify themselves in you or in your community. And it creates this strong feeling of, oh, I want to know more, I want to like get more, I want to be part of this. It's good to share a personal story, maybe like your existence story of your brand. Maybe you want to show your brand mission so they feel like they belong to the part of something bigger, not just like a small entrepreneur in their empty office. Yeah, highlight your values. Tell them what makes you different, because in most cases, us at this point, what makes us different from our competitors are our values or unique methodology, unique approach. I would definitely highlight that, mention it so that people see your USP, what makes you different, and don't go somewhere else. In fact, there is a book called The Death of Demographics, and how value graphics defines value graphics. It's a new term, how it defines our marketing and audiences. And it literally is a huge, huge study. Probably many, many PhD students and postdocs were involved, where they interviewed almost like 1 million people all over the world on to find what unites them. And it's not marital status or age or how much money they earn. That's literally the values. They literally tested how similar people are in their behavior based on, what age they are, how we as marketers are used to defining people: this age, this gender, this much money, okay, they will get this promotion. This study literally showed that doesn't matter. Like, people in certain age or marital status or even country are nothing alike, and what really unites them are their values and what they believe in. And invite them to engage further. This is the time where you can ask them to take the next step, where like they could get to know you even better. For example, if you have a WhatsApp community or Instagram account, LinkedIn account, anything where you share a lot of value, invite them to join that, be part of it, so that they can get to know you even better outside of the emails, because emails, they're just reading. If you have, for example, a YouTube channel, send the link to your best performing video, especially if that video somehow relates to the lead magnet, then there is this connection, this bridge, and they'll be like, whoa, and then they will get to know you, and then it's like success story right away. And the final thing is to mobilize them, to encourage action, but not a hard sell, but pushing them kind gently in the direction of your offer. Yeah, you wanna share a quick win, a helpful tip, or another free resource, give more value. Yeah, and then tell them what's the next step. It can be a mini offer, something super, super cheap that's not a no-brainer to buy it. Everything under 27 euros counts as an impulse buy. So if you have an ebook or some kind of mini course, you can encourage them to do that, because that's what I'm gonna write down. An offer suit. This is what each one of you should have in your business, that you have your signature offer, you have your freebie, but then you need the steps to bring the people to your signature offer. And usually it involves a low ticket offer, a medium ticket offer. So people go on the steps to sign up for the most expensive thing. And talk about the benefits, why they should take this next step. Tell them how it would solve their problem, because you know what their problem, right? They downloaded the lead magnet that solves that problem, or part of that problem. And do introduce a clear CTA, yeah, but like strong, more prominent than whatever you did before. Before we didn't really have any CTA to the next step in the offer letter. And if you have include social proof, maybe mini testimonial, some kind of hint, some kind of authority building, like this is what so many experts did, or this is what I've done with this many clients, or this is what helped me bring this and this results. I don't know, generate 2 million in revenue, whatever you want as your social proof to guarantee that it works. So this was the three-step, the AIM framework from Alex Cottoni. And you see, it's very logical. That every email sequence is basically storytelling that you're just doing over multiple emails, but they all have to be connected. They all have to have a very smooth flow, and people need to feel like they're reading a book, one page a day. And now we will talk shortly about the what, why, now, what, why, how, now framework from data-driven marketing. So these guys are literally data-driven. They test everything. And how they have developed this framework is by analyzing hundreds of welcome sequences and millions of dollars in course sales. They work with entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants that sell online courses, group coachings, cohorts, but also services. Yeah, also coaching programs, and like one-to-one coaching. And they analyze the sales funnels of these different offers, and they develop this framework. And they saw that using this framework and using this spacing of just one day between emails increases the open rates to 50 to 60%. And the industry leverage, okay, they say 15 to 25. It's often up to 36, 39, at least for newsletter. Yeah, from my experience in my funnels, that's never been this low. So, but maybe industry leverage is this slow, so I just managed to optimize it a bit better. And the key to their framework, even though it's longer than the AIM framework, is that you really do 24 hours between the emails. This keeps the open rates higher, keeps the people engaged, and keeps them coming back for more. So these are the emails and their contents from their framework. The first one is where you deliver the lead magnet. This is email 0. Email 1, very similar to the AIM framework. Share your founder's story and mission. This builds instant trust, and people get the feeling that they know you. That email 2, show what makes you different. also similar to the AIM framework. So, they're on the same, they have the same logic. Email 3, answer their biggest questions. Yeah, demonstrate your expertise. For sure, in every industry, people ask very similar things, and you want to like predict what your audience is questioning, what they want to know, and you want to give it to them even without them asking you directly. Share actual results, share testimonial, or better, share a case study, like tell a story of a person who came to you with their problems, what you did to solve their problems, and what their transformation is in the end. And through this storytelling and through seeing what happened to a real person, people will feel more convinced to buy from you and to really book you for whatever they need. Definitely highlight the benefits of like why your offer, not other offers. And we are talking, of course, you've heard it a lot, not features, benefits, what's in it for them. What would they get if they would pay that money? They need to know what's in it for them, and not what's in it for you or why you think your offer is so amazing, but literally think, what would a very skeptical person need to hear to get convinced that this is the right thing for them? And then email 6, start selling. This is where you can already get with the bridge to the hard sell. So this would be like your mobilized email, similar to Alex's, where you then send them, you give your offer, and then those who seem like they are interested, you send to the upsell funnel. So what nurture funnel to choose for you? I would definitely start at least with the smaller one, because I have started with the smaller one initially. And then I reuse those emails for my bigger funnel, because you see there are similarities in both of them, because the logic is the same, because all of them are built on the people psychology. So definitely start with this one, but do go to the develop to the longer one. Why? Okay, when to use, let's come to this in the end. What are the benefits of doing a shorter one? It's faster to write and launch. Any one of you can do it in a day. If you're new to this, perfect to start with. If you're busy, you can't develop a long, complicated funnel, also perfect. Will still do wonders, better than just sending one welcome email. And you will still be able to convert for example, low ticket offers. But if you go in for the 5 to 7 email funnel, then you will be able to build deeper trust and authority because of providing all those case studies, all those examples. And it is better for complex and high ticket sales, because if your product costs more, you need to make sure that there is enough trust developed, because without it, people will not convert. And it gives more chances to engage, which also is perfect for you to start a real conversation, to bring people to a sales call with you, for example. What are the disadvantages of using the short email nurture funnel? Obviously, there is not so much space to deliver all that information. Like, you won't be able to cover all the objections people might have and or address all their skepticism. You don't have that much space to build authority, provide social proof. And for high ticket sales, just probably is most likely is not going to be enough. What are the disadvantages of a longer sequence? You are obviously risking, especially if your emails are not very compelling or engaging, you might lose them. And Yeah, but of course, through testing and everything, you can make sure that it is compelling enough not to lose any subscribers or not to cause any subscriber fatigue. But you need to to write the copy, you need to plan, think strategically, okay, what could be the next steps, and you need to test. And yeah, the longer your sequence, the more people will drop off. But think about it, it's a funnel. If you know the funnel, yeah, on top we have lots of contacts, but by the end, only the ones that matter stay. And the ones that matter, they will stay. And the longer my sequence is, actually, the more, the higher rates I get. So in my nurture sequence, those who are not interested, they will drop off, will either unsubscribe or get into my newsletter. But those who were engaged, read every email, click the links, I send them to the upsell funnel. And in my upsell funnel, I have over 60% open rates because people, I cut those people that are interested in what I have to say and my offer. So when to use which one? Quick orientation before newsletter. Totally recommend either for lead magnet or for newsletter subscribers. Like I mentioned, definitely use this one. And if you're new to automations, if you're new to business, start with it. When to use 5 to 7 email nurture sequences if your offer is more expensive. If it requires more nurturing and trust, if you have more case studies, bonuses, additional offers, email courses to share, definitely go for the longer sequence. Here is an example of my welcome email. What do I write here? I have a subject line, and the subject line says what they're getting by opening this email, because it's not self-explanatory that if they subscribe for a lead magnet, they will open an email. I swear, like between 30 and 50% of people don't bother to read those emails. So they don't even open it to get their freebie. And then a very important part of an email is a pre-header. We all think about subject line, but there is also pre-header, and I'll show you later on what a pre-header is. You can see it when you open your email and like all of your emails are in the list there. Not when you open the single email, but when you have all of your unread emails, so like all your emails in the inbox. You can also see it on the mobile. So pre-header just gives you an opportunity to write a bit longer information to convince people to open that email. So I tell them in the subject line that they are freebies inside, and I generate more intrigue and more wish to open it by saying that plus I include a gift. Then I say, hi, first name. Yeah, I personalize every email. I create a little bit of excitement. I'm thrilled you grabbed my online presence checklist. Then I create authority by saying that below you'll find the checklist along with my top recommendations, recommended digital marketing tools tested and trusted from years of experience helping industry experts and keynote speakers build standout online presence. And that directly establishes me as an expert in what I do, and that there are other people who trust me to hire me to do that for them. Then I underline the benefits. This checklist is tailored to what every industry expert needs to create scalable online presence, develop a strong personal brand, and streamline processes. And then I make a bridge to the bigger problem that they might have that will not be solved with this lead magnet. Yeah, we create awareness of the problem. But here's the thing, first name, following the step is just the beginning. To truly succeed, you need to understand when, why, and how to implement them effectively. If you remember from last week's lead magnet webinar, we talked that the lead magnet should give the what and not the how. Or a lead magnet should give the what and why, but not the how. So this is where we say that this is not enough. You need to know more to be able to solve your problem. And for me, and this is because this is how I do this nurture, for you it might look different. What I say, how I set expectations. That's why I've created a completely free email course to walk you through each step, showing you how to build an online presence that works for you. And so I provide also a little bit of the how, but if you were to read my emails, it's really just like the general knowledge. It doesn't tell you exactly, from the technical part how to implement these things. Because my product, my offer is quite expensive. So I need to prove my expertise. I need to really work on nurturing and trust building. And so now the expectations over the next 6 days, I'll share my exact blueprint for helping industry experts, keynote speakers, and thought leaders like you establish a lasting and impactful digital footprint. And then I add some personality because really I'm not trying at this point to sell. I say no strings attached, read or not. I just want to help you get it right. See you tomorrow. Then I have a prominent button. So this is a screenshot from my Notion. In the email itself, this would be a big button. And then I have in the end a recognizable signature because I use this same very signature with this exact emotion in every email. So if you wanna get recognized, like be a bit more, how is that movie called? Inception. If you want to incept people's mind, create something like some kind of saying or use some sort of like emoji so that people remember, like have more chances to remember you. Like you could say like your job hunting bestie or yeah, or something like that. And always sign the same way. This is the next example. This is of my include slash tell the personal story, introduce yourself email. So this is my second email. If you look over here, this is where it becomes clear what's a pre-header. So the subject line is this. I used to wash floors in a mall. So this is the subject line. And this part in gray, and now I have a thriving business, is a pre-header. So this is what they see in your whole inbox along with all the other emails or on mobile. On mobile, it will be on top, I used to wash floors in the mall, and underneath would be, and now I have a thriving business. So a pre-header gives you an opportunity to, explain a bit more what your email is about and create an intrigue so that they want to click it. And as you can see, my email is very long because I really want to create a personal connection. I tell them that I come from a poor family, and then I did work as a cleaning lady in the mall so that I earned money from my university so that I could study science. And then I say that I did study science, I achieved my goal, but it was not fulfilling. And then I say about all the awful things or things that I didn't like when I worked in the lab. And these pictures create obviously this personal feeling that people see me, they see the proof that I'm not lying, this is a real story. And then I say, okay, what I did to change that and where I am right now. And then I include these further steps of follow me on Instagram, like so that they can get to know me better, join my free WhatsApp group. So any little next steps and call to actions to make them feel like they belong because maybe they recognize themselves in my story. Yeah, so as it already is high time, it's already 15 past 8. I'm gonna finish with very few effective nurture funnel tips, but you can go through like exact details of what to do and not to do later on, or I will include a webinar on copywriting of email copy. So maybe this is something that we can do. So tip number 1, strong subject line. This will literally define if your funnel is successful or not. The same applies to your newsletter. Nobody will care how great your content is if they don't open it. Yeah. So make sure that your subject line is clear, relevant, and enticing, doesn't sound spammy, is not general, doesn't sound like ChatGPT, shows your personality, but it is not FOMO based. I hate FOMO based marketing. It's such bullshit. Try to create value. Try to show people that it's worth opening it, and not like that if they don't open, they will not sleep the whole night because like they don't know what's going on there. I hate this type of marketing. Tip number two, personalize. You can include directly in your email subject line person's name. Wait a second. No, this should still be the tip number one, strong subject line. This is just an example that my last week's newsletter had over 50% open rates. For a newsletter, this is like unthinkable. I think this probably was the best newsletter open rate that I had. And it's all because of the subject line. Because the subject line, clients won't just come to you without this one thing. Hit them where it hurt. Like, this is the subject line, clients won't just come to you, pre-header without this one thing. And one wasn't capital. So clearly everyone is struggling with client generation, so this hit them where it hurt, and I provided a lot of value of telling them how to make the first step to generating leads. So people really read it and they liked it. So tip number two, the numbering is wrong. Remember the pre-header. Pre-header gives you an opportunity to give more context so people click. Then personalize. Always include the name. And when I'm writing my emails, I make them very conversational, and I do use the name very often. I don't know if you know this technique that when you're speaking like one to one, that you need to say a person's name so then they will feel more connected, or I don't know what it is, but it's the same when you're writing. So if you include their name in the email, then they will feel like it's addressed to them. And there will be people who just like do random name. So then of course they will be receiving the random letters. But those who care, they will include their name, and then all of those emails would just sound so like a song, like something that you really meant to write and care, showing that you care about them. And first thing, yeah, is include the first name. But then eventually, when you get a bit more advanced, you can tag by interest and say, you have downloaded this, but I've seen also you did this and this and this. So maybe you will be interested in this, and you send them to a whole new sequence. Totally possible. This is when the funnels get a bit more complicated and it takes years to develop. But eventually, you want to, have a sales system that really captures everyone to the maximum potential, not just hope that they stick and do the next step, but you like really capture them. Tip number four, do not forget the CTA. We often think that it's clear what people should do. No, it's not clear. Always include the CTA. In a nurture sequence, it can be a softer one, like stay tuned, make sure to read my next email or follow me on Instagram. And in the upsell, it should be directly, this is what you need to do. We cannot assume that people know what to do. We actually should not let them think. We should just like chew the information and put them into their minds so that they don't have to think and just do. Make it visible, make it bold, prominent, so that people know exactly where to click and don't need to search or think. Yeah, this is a bit more about the copywriting and the language, but I think it's still important in your nurture sequence, go for softer CTAs, and make them benefit driven, like yeah, I wanna find my dream job. Download your freebie. And also first person CTAs and CTAs that include this, yes, I want to do this and this. It's like you make people already say yes to your offer, so subconsciously they start thinking how it would be like working with you. So all these tiny things. But and with when you approach like the hard sell, like the upsell sequence, then you can just like, yeah, I want to be part of this community, or yeah, I'm ready to pay, something like this. And finally, write like a real person. Write emails from your heart. Write like you would write to a friend. Add humor if this is your personality. Self-irony. I write a lot of self-irony. I make fun of myself, my husband. Um, I feel that in emails it's way easier to be human and to show your personality than on social media, because on social media, okay, if you make like a nice storytelling video, that's also possible. The captions are, however, so short, and you often need to think about algorithm and keywords and blah blah blah. But here you don't need to think about keywords because you already have people's email addresses, so you really can just like write from yourself, from your heart, and people will feel it. They really will feel it. I had people telling me, "Oh my God, this is like I read this and it sounded exactly like you. I could totally hear your voice in this." And the best part is that I train now a custom GPT on many emails and blogs that I've written. So actually, my custom GPT can write in my voice and style using humor, typical humor for me, or self-irony. I just need to do minor corrections. So it's not so hard, and it's possible that you guys also do it. Okay, so we are coming to the very end. What are your next steps? I want you by the next week brainstorm your nurture sequence. Choose one of the frameworks that I have provided, and brainstorm what you would write. Brainstorm your existence story, your brand mission. Brainstorm how would you engage the people, what would be the CTAs in your email. And then I want you to finalize your lead magnet, or at least like, the plan of the lead magnet. I don't mean the design, because I'm actually thinking to have a webinar dedicated to Canva, to work in Canva and how to design ebooks, lead magnets in Canva. And then I want us together, also in one of the webinars, set up the automated funnel. And even if you don't have the website, we can still, from your Instagram, for example, just create a link to this landing page, because these landing pages are built on the email marketing platforms. They are not built on WordPress. And all you need to do there is say the name, the title of the lead magnet, what's it about, and just the sign up form. And that's it. You don't need anything else. And yeah, then you just need to promote that lead magnet. So even if you haven't launched yet, you don't know exactly what you offer yet, you can still already build a know, like, trust factor. You can start collecting emails so that when you do launch, you have the big audience waiting for you who already likes you, trusts you. Um, exactly. So this would be my next steps for you until next week, when we will have a Q&A, and where we will go through all of this for you, discuss these things, and so I can help you develop these things. Okay.